So we're up to chapter 17, verse 9. Vayomer Elokim el Avraham. God says to Avram, Va'ata es brisi tishmor. And you, my covenant, you shall guard. Ata v'zaracha acharecha odorotam. You and your seed, your descendants after you for all generations. So Rashi points out that it says Ve'ata, and you, and the letter Vav is adding on to that which follows. It means to say, this is my covenant with you, and as for you, you have to be careful to guard it. And what does it mean to guard it? That's what we're going to get in a moment. This is the obligation to circumcise, the obligation to circumcise. Zot briti asher tishmeru beini uveinechem, and this is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you. Uvein zaracha acharecha, and your descendants after you. Himolachem kol zachar. You have to circumcise every male. So Rashi says those of the present. This applies to everybody there now, and those after you. Himolachem kol zachar. Rashi says bein zaracha acharecha. That means those who are destined to be born. Himol, to be circumcised. What does the word mean? Rashi doesn't really tell us what it means. He doesn't really define it clearly yet. So we're going to see what that means. Unemaltem et besar orlatchem. You shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin. Vayaha la'ot brit beinu beinechem. And that will be a sign of the covenant. So this is called an oath. What else is called an oath? What else is called a sign in our Torah? What else? Anybody know? The letters, but
on your arm.
The tefillin are called an oath, a sign. What else is called an oath? Shabbat is called an oath. So there are three things that are called an oath: the tefillin, Shabbat, and the circumcision. And we always the man is always who is a kosher witness always has to have two of them. So we have Shabbat and circumcision. We don't wear tefillin on Shabbat according to the majority opinion in the Talmud. There is a minority opinion in the Talmud that says we wear the tefillin on Shabbat, but the majority opinion is we don't. And then during the week we have the tefillin and the circumcision. And then it says you shall circumcise. What does it mean to circumcise? So Rashi still does not tell us. What else? What other things are we supposed to circumcise?
Your heart.
You're supposed to circumcise your heart.
Lips.
What?
Your lips.
Your lips. Well, Moshe said, very good. Moshe says, Ani aral sefasayim. I have uncircumcised lips. I'm not able to speak because I'm uncircumcised lips. Okay.
But Rabbi, the heart I thought was from Hashem. I didn't know that we can do anything as preparation for that kind of.
Well, we're not supposed to cut our heart.
Obviously, I'm
metaphor.
It's from Hashem, not from us, right?
Let's pull up the verse. Let's pull up the verse, Rabbi Yosef. Can you pull up the verse and we'll see what it says?
In Devarim or in Yechezkel?
Well, first go to Devarim. Let's see.
To expose your heart to.
Let's see what the verse says. Okay.
It's not moving.
Okay, well, in the meantime, we'll continue. It says, Uben shmonat yamim yimolachem kol zachar l'dorotechem. A person who's 8 days old will circumcise for you every male for all future generations. Yulid bayis umiknas kesef mikol ben nechar. Anybody who is a member of your household or you purchase him, you have to circumcise. Asher lo mizarachahu, even if he's not from your offspring. If there was, let's say, a Canaanite, you had to circumcise him. If you got a Canaanite slave and he's in your home, hello, Kobe, come on and join us. Stay right here. Pull right up. Come on, pull right up into my crib. Slide right in. So, hello, Greg, how you doing? Come on, slide right over, Kobe. Kobe, slide right over. Okay, so we're chapter 17 of Genesis, verse 12. So you have to circumcise everybody.
Rabbi, here it is.
What's the verse? Let's see.
36. Chapter 30, verse 6. Ma Hashem Elokecha.
Chapter 30, verse 6.
You don't see it? I
Oh,
don't have
now I see it. Umal Hashem Elokecha tzavavcha, ve'es levav zarecha, ve'avas Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha l'man chayecha. Hashem will circumcise your heart, and the hearts of your offspring to love Hashem your God. So there, Hashem is doing it to us, but the point is that we're supposed to do it, because if we circumcise our hearts, then we'll open up our hearts to love God more. So we're removing the stumbling block that's preventing us from loving God properly. So Yulid bias, what does it mean? The people born in your home? Rashi says even a slave woman gave birth to him in your home, you have to circumcise it. So every male in your household, we're required to circumcise, and even if you acquired him after he was born. So if you get a child, if you purchase a slave, then that slave is supposed to be circumcised right away. You need a chumash, Moshe. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You know where they are, right, Moshe? Ezra, you know where they are? Okay. So then the verse says, Himol yimol, you know, by the way, you say circumcised of the heart. Do you know how you're supposed to practice learning circumcision? The first person circumcised is supposed to be the mole's son, but
That's where you practice?
no, well, you have to, somebody's got to be the first.
Okay. Oh, but there's medical probably practice. I'm like a fake.
Yeah, what's the fake thing you practice on?
I've had
What? So it's a chicken's heart.
chicken.
The heart of a chicken is very it's supposedly, I mean, I felt it, and the person who was teaching me how to slaughter chicken said, yeah, he's also a Moel, and he said, this is what you practice on, to see if there's a little bit of a membrane over it. Just like the foreskin is a membrane, this is a membrane over the chicken's heart that you're supposed to remove. Now, by biblical law, you have to do two parts of the circumcision. One is the removal of the cutting off of the foreskin. Then there's a membrane, and that you have to peel that all the way back. That's called the priya. That was to prevent the circumcision from ever being. There's a process. Maybe Ben knows Greek. Is a process of circumcision reversal. That was very that was practiced during the Greco-Roman era, that they used to try to reverse their circumcision as a way of renouncing their Judaism. So the rabbis emphasized, if you do this pre-operation, this procedure as part of circumcision, you won't be able to reverse it. Yeah, Jerry, you had a question?
Yes. Bringing in a non-Jew into your family, why? He's not a Jew, so why must he be circumcised?
So the answer is that he is a Jew, that the non-Jew that you bring into if you bring him in as a slave, he's automatically becomes Jewish. A Jewish man or a woman, they're not a full Jew. They are a Canaanite slave. A Canaanite slave is commanded to do the commandments that are not time bound, like a woman. And you force it. The Gemara in Yevamos on 47b, I think 48a, talks about how you forcibly convert him. You stick him in the water and don't let him come up. It's obviously not something we really do, and we definitely do not do this anymore, but this was what they did in the ancient world.
I see. So even if he refuses, we force him to be circumcised. I see.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
So that's what we're talking about.
Right.
What?
So Canaanite slave has little rights. He can't refuse to do it.
The slave, you force him against his will to convert. You force him. It's not 100% accurate to say he has no rights. He has some rights. Like if you kill him, and he dies right away, you're put to death. Or if somebody else kills him, they're put to death. So, okay. All right. So now we go on. So the text states, verse 13. Himol yimol yolid beischa miknaz kaspecha. The one that is born in your household or purchased with your money, you shall circumcise. And my circumcision, my covenant will be in your flesh for eternal circumcision. Rashi says, why is it commanded here? That's to teach us, here it's not talking about 8 days, that's to teach us that there is a case where somebody is circumcised on the first day. And that's if you buy the slave on the first day, he's not circumcised. On the 8th day, he's circumcised right away. Now we say, but I do know that there's so many commandments that people don't follow anymore. But almost all Jews today, I mean, you're always going to find people who are not deviating from Jewish law, but even people who are barely Jewish, I mean, like they don't even go to synagogue at all, they'll circumcise. The Jews, this is a commandment that really had a lot of mazel. The Jews circumcised, there's a lot of mazel there. In my rabbinate, I only came across 2 families that they refused to circumcise. That they said, we're not doing it. Only twice. Or that admitted it to me.
Yeah, well, the left wing, and also in Europe, school children, babies. So they're very strong, feel very strong against.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's ironic that the same political sector that says it's cruel to circumcise a child also believes in like transgender for children operations. Like that also, like it's a very controversial thing within the pediatric urology to make those decisions for children. And they're making, and Jeff, you know this, they're making those decisions very, very young age. And that's also very, very controversial. It's very controversial. So what's the matter?
I was just trying to listen to what's going on.
Okay, so we go on. So the verse states, Va'arel zachar asher lo yimo, if there be a uncircumcised male that will not circumcise his foreskin, and he'll be cut off from the people. Es Bris far, he has rejected my covenant. So if you don't get circumcised, you're in violation of the positive commandment and you get kares. There's only one other commandment where if you don't do it, you get kares. There's only one other positive commandment that in violation of it, you get kares. Anybody know what it is?
You stop.
Matzah.
What?
Matzah?
No, very close, but not matzah. Yeah, and it's ironic that we don't do this one. That's the obligation to eat the korban pesach. The obligation to eat the korban pesach. If you don't eat matzah, you don't get kares. But if you eat chametz, you're in violation. But there's a commandment to eat. There's a commandment of to eat the paschal lamb, and if you don't do that, you get kares. And also the commandment to circumcise. If you don't eat, you get kares. Also, you can do every commandment if you don't have circumcision, except for eating the paschal lamb. This hints to the fact that the paschal lamb is a national commandment, and the covenant and the circumcision is a national commandment. What?
We don't do it, we don't eat the korban pesach.
We don't eat the korban pesach, so because we're not able to bring it for political reasons. But if we were able to bring it, I mean, the Israeli government doesn't allow us to. That's the reason why we don't bring it. Yes.
If a baby is circumcised, but not at a wrist, just so is that count as a circumcision?
That's, oh, you mean if the baby is circumcised, but not by a moel. So,
Not on the 8th day.
so basically, the question is, if that baby gets circumcised, hold on, some people are just texting me. If the baby is circumcised, but not at the moel, but not by a moel, he has to do it again. He doesn't have to circumcise again. He'll have to probably draw blood, just take a drop. But the question is he in violation of the commandment of kares? Is he that I'm not Right, there are a lot of Jews who just get it done in the hospital, and they don't do it on the 8th day, they just do it right away. So, I mean, I have to look at that question. Yeah, Jerry.
Since none of the Jews living today eat of the Korban Pesach, does that mean all of us, all Jews, are cut off from the Jewish community?
No, because we're not able to bring it. It refers to somebody who's there and is able to bring it and doesn't do it. But that there is a question because that are we making the effort to bring it? So the answer is we're not in violation of kares because we're still not able to bring it. So okay, so now the verse tells us, we go on, the verse tells us the uncircumcised male, Rashi says, this teaches us that where is a circumcision done? Shunikar bein zachar and nekeva. It's done on the same. Done on the part. It says arel zachar, the male foreskin. Also, I should mention that they call female circumcision that really is designed intentionally to limit a female's ability to have sexual intercourse, but it's incredibly painful, and so it's not in any way the same as the male circumcision.
Yeah,
What?
also, doesn't one female one, like there's some cultures that take it extremely far, to the point where it's like totally not like a circumcision at all. It's like abuse
Well,
almost.
that's what they call female circumcision is really genital mutilation.
Yeah.
Those who are against circumcision try to compare it, but we argue that it's totally different. I have a friend, actually not a friend. There's a guy who was my roommate, not my roommate. We had an apartment at Yeshiva University when I was in college, and he became a vocal intactist. I mean, I don't talk to him, but he became a very big proponent of not allowing circumcision. They're called intactists. They're intactists.
For both genders?
What?
For both genders?
No, female circumcision is illegal in America.
Oh,
We're
I
talking-
didn't notice here, okay.
Yeah.
What
So-
countries is there?
What?
What countries do they do it in?
You can look it up, but they do it in what? No, I think they do it in like some African countries. You can look it up. Female circumcision on Wikipedia. Jerry, are you trying to say something, Jerry?
Yes. Does Judaism allow circumcision of women? It's horrible.
No, it does not allow it. It's torturous. It's totally different. The only thing I'm saying is that it shares the same name, circumcision, but that's it. It's a totally different purpose and focus. So it's totally different.
Is it practiced in Judaism?
No, it's not.
No.
No, I mean, not that I'm aware of, actually. You never know. These things are beyond my. Anyway, let's go on. So it states in the verse, a person who's not circumcised, at what age does the kares take place? Once he reaches the age of punishments, then he gets his penalty. But his father does not get the kares. So the obligation to circumcise a child is an obligation on a father, but the child gets kares if he doesn't do it from the age he reaches an adult. So if your father, for whatever reason, did not circumcise you, then you have to circumcise yourself when you come of age, and you'd have to do it to yourself. I mean, you could appoint an agent to do it for you.
Yeah, we're right.
We rule that you could do it. We rule that you could do it under anesthesia, but some are very strict and they say you can't even have any anesthesia because you want to be awake, like Abraham was in our portion.
I don't Russians,
Yeah.
Russian Jews, and they did it when they were adults, and they said it's incredibly painful. It's unbelievably painful. Yeah, this is
Well, there's a way to do it. Actually, in Africa, what they do now is because they want to circumcise a lot of adults. They do is they tie like a rubber band around the foreskin, and then the foreskin will fall off. And tie it for a few days, cut off the circulation, then it'll fall off, and then you just take a drop of blood, and then it's okay.
But my friend didn't hear that.
So they have techniques, to limit the pain, or you can just do it and be done.
He said he was killed.
So, Nefrasa, and if the person, what does it mean that you get this kares? It means what does kares mean? It means that you go childless and you die before your time. So because this person has invalidated my covenant, he's rejected my covenant, and therefore for this reason, he's going to have the punishment of he'll be dying childless. So I know obviously pretty graphic, but we've got a lot more to do on this topic. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll stop here now. Baruch Hashem, and we'll